If you want to level up your Instagram and your business or brand, you need to be ready to level up you first. I'm reading a book and I want to share that with you. I'm starting a new series. This is going to be about this book, High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. Really great book, has influenced me in a lot of ways and helped me grow as a person and as a business owner, and as a brand on Instagram. And I'm going to go through a lot of these things with you in this series. We're going to start with clarity over here, right there, clarity. And we're going to talk about the future four from Brendan's book on clarity. We're going to kind of set the table for continuing through this book, but we're also going to talk about how to grow as a person and as a brand. And I'm going to have some really actionable and good discussion points for you that are personal to me, that I've come up with, while I'm reading through this book, that I think I know will be helpful to you on your journey as well. So I get a lot of people asking me on Instagram, because that's kind of where my expertise is, my primary field of interest, if you will, take a term from the book. But my primary focus being helping people grow their brands on Instagram as a business or a brand, a personal brand. Having helped almost 100 clients in the last year with my agency, and helping accumulate over 450,000 total followers for all the accounts I've worked with. Pretty awesome, almost to 500,000. It's amazing. But on that journey, I help a lot of people grow on Instagram. This book has helped me do that. A lot of people ask me, how do you grow on Instagram? How do you get all these followers? How do you do this? How do you do any number of things on Instagram? It starts with all of these foundational things. And so you can do all the fancy stuff on Instagram that you want, but if you haven't set the table as a person and as a brand, then you're going to struggle. So I think these things are going to be really helpful in answering that question for a lot of people getting started on Instagram as a business or a brand. Or if you're just trying to grow and expand your business or brand, I think these things will be really applicable too. Let's get started with number one, self-clarity. So temet nosce, an old Latin phrase that means know thyself. If you've seen the Matrix movie, it's in there and it's pretty cool. But know thyself. So knowing yourself is a really important foundational element, and knowing yourself as a business or brand is super important too. Let's see what Brendan has to say about that. So high performers consistently think about who they wanted to be and how to become that. So this is the future four of clarity, and the first one being self-clarity. So what we're looking at is, as ourself, we're identifying that future person that you want to be, that future brand that you want to be. So if you're seeing other brands on Instagram, if you're seeing, oh, wow, that person's got an amazing Instagram with all these people commenting and engaging, he's got to be selling tons of stuff, making millions, all that kind of stuff. If you see that and you want to be that, that's kind of your self-clarity for, I see a future me in that. So you need to spend some time thinking about and understanding who you want to be as a person and as a brand, and then coming up with tangible ways to become that. So having an eye on your future self is very, very important. And that's what comes with self-clarity. So I hope you're working on that for your business and your brand, and yourself as a person. Those are great foundational elements. Number two is social clarity. And what does Brendan have to say about social clarity? Clear intention. High performers have clear intentions about how they want to treat other people. They have high situational awareness and social intelligence. While I feel like I'm pretty solid as a performer, maybe not a high performer, but a performer, a good performer on self-clarity. It's always kind of been in my nature. And my nurture as well, probably so. But I've always felt confident in self-clarity. I've felt less confident with social clarity, situational awareness, and social intelligence, and something that's matured with me over over my experience in life personally. But as a business or brand, I also see some really valuable things in here too. So Instagram is a very social platform. It's all about relationships. If you boil it down to one primary thing, it's about building relationships, especially as a business or brand, and coming up with really effective ways to do that. Content is a way. Reaching out to people is a way. Engagement is a way of doing those things. And so understanding who you want to be. So the first one was self-clarity as a brand, understanding what kind of brand you want to be, what kind of value you have. Then socially, how are you going to bring that value to other people? Being very intentful. The book talks a lot about intent, which I love. Being very intentful about what you're going to do and what you're going to bring to other people in social situations. One of the things that I posted about on Instagram and I talk about with friends and family is that, there are different triggers that you can use that he talks about in the book. Gateway triggers, sit down at your desk triggers, reminders that you can have on your phone, all these kinds of things that can remind you who you want to be socially. So if you understand personally who you want to be socially when you go into a social situation, you can set that intent before you get there. Think about, okay, what kind of emotion do I want to bring to people? What kind of, I often think, okay, I want people to feel warm and welcomed around me. And I start to think about how I can do that and how I can emanate that kind of emotion socially. And then you also think about, how do I want to leave people? How do I want to leave people personally? What do I want them to think about me after I leave? And I can start to think about things that I can do in those social situations to further that goal and help me be that self-clarity, be that future person that I want to be. As a business or brand, we can do that on Instagram as well. How do I want to interact with other people? And how do I want to make them feel emotionally? Because don't forget, emotion is a big part of a business and brand. People buy things from emotion. We are emotional beings. They buy things through emotion, and then they back that up with logic. They back up those purchase decisions with logic. So always be thinking about making those emotional connections with people when you're working a business or a brand. But social clarity is thinking about, how do I want to be in certain social situations on Instagram? How does my brand want to act on Instagram? So what am I working on and what am I doing to do those things? I spend a lot of time commenting and discussing with people on other people's posts. So I start building a culture around communication. I try to offer value. If I can't offer high value, then I try to encourage people to keep going, to do more, to inspire them to be their better self, to reach their goals, those kinds of things. And I spend a lot of time doing that because that's what I want my personal brand, and that's why I chose to be a personal brand and not a business brand only. And I chose to do that because I want to make those personal connections. Part of this series is a way of doing that and making those connections, this High Performance Habits with Bill series. And so doing those kind of things for your business or brand and focusing on making those connections, being intentful about what you do, this book is really helpful in doing that. And those are some of the ways that I'm doing that with social clarity. Let's go on and look at the next one, skill clarity. This is another one where I kind of feel comfortable. I am acting on Instagram as a business, as a brand, on YouTube, with the foundation. I'm acting on top of the foundation of skills that I've built over years and years and years of doing this. One of the skills that I built is working on Photoshop, doing some graphic design. I'm a self-taught graphic design kind of person. I'm not great at it because I didn't go to school for it and I don't have a formal education on it, but I'm good at it. And so I can create good posts, good content, all kinds of stuff. In my career as vice president of sales and marketing for different companies, did a lot of work with graphic designers, did a lot of stuff myself to grow those businesses using graphic design as a kind of skill. There's a lot of other skills that I've built all of these things on. My ability to talk on video and to speak with people and the foundation that I've built to do that was giving different talks, presentations over throughout my career, all those kinds of things. Not something I was necessarily comfortable with right away, but something that I've grown comfort with, and that comfort increases and I get better and better at it. Skill clarity is a good thing that this book talks about. And so what does Brendan say about skill clarity? I wonder. High performers are very clear about the skill sets they need to develop now to win in the future. So important for your brand, especially on Instagram, in any channel that you work on, in any function of your brand, is understanding the skill sets that you personally need to grow on and dedicating the time to grow those skills. He talks a lot about your primary field of interest, this being your PFI, being what is the one thing, your primary focus, your primary goal in life or in business as a brand, and then deciding, okay, what are the skills I need to build to do that better? He talks about his own personal experience in the book, obviously. He talks about the decision that he made to go from to focus on being a writer. And I'm just now getting into, so I'm only that far. I'm really now getting into some really meaty stuff where he talks about his experience and his primary skill as a writer and wanting to expand that skill set and focus on that skill set as his primary focus. And so when he made the decision years ago with his brand to focus on marketing and becoming a really good marketer, and what are the skills he needed to do that, to build that, technical skills, social skills, all those kinds of things. He started to build those things for himself and his brand. And you need to be thinking about that as well when you're building your business or brand. What are the skills and things that you need to work on to get better? I'm very confident in my skills. I have a good skill set. A lot of the choices that I've made in my life are because of my skill set and because of the skill sets that I've built. That's why I'm doing a lot of the things that I do, and do them in specific ways, like doing this video or doing, content. All that kind of stuff is right kind of in my wheelhouse. But you have to build those skills. And so some of the skills that I'm working on right now for my business or brand is ramping up that content. So I feel like I'm pretty good at creating content, but I'm not great at creating enough content to keep that ball rolling and rolling and rolling. So the way that I want to, and to impact all the people that I want to reach and grow my business the way I want to do, and help people grow their businesses and their lives and all that cool stuff, and have the reach that I want to, I need to do more. I need to do more content. I need to be more proficient at creating that content and in different ways, and then getting it out there. And so that's what I'm working on. And so I'm doing these videos. I'm doing a lot of content, doing more and more content, finding ways of getting people to help me do certain things to help move that process along. I hope to share more about that later. But that's kind of the skill clarity that you have to have in and around your business or brand to really grow, and as a person. So you have to set that foundation as a person as well. So let's take a look at the last one here of our future 4 from High Performance Habits. This is going to be service clarity. This is another one that I don't necessarily feel confident about my performance on, and I know that I can improve a lot on this one, and have made some strides recently, being intentful about that and doing that. So what does Brendan say about service clarity? High performers, what will provide the most value to those you serve? And so what provides the most value to the people that you serve? This is one of a really, really great question for your business or brand. It's a great question for you personally, but it's a really good question for your business or brand as well. What service do you want to give? What is the most valuable thing that you can offer to serve your ideal clients, customers, audience, that kind of stuff? And so when you're creating content for Instagram or you're creating content for your brand, it's really important to have that focused around the value that you can offer. and to those you serve. And that's a super powerful thing. So you need to be really intentful about that at a base level. And then you need to build skills that are going to go on top of that base level of service, that understanding of what value you want to bring, and then build those skills to implement those and execute your vision. And so being intentful is a really powerful, important thing to do. One of the things that I'm doing in and around service clarity is, again, engaging on Instagram, engaging with people, serving in an open way, being authentic about about all the discussions that I'm having on Instagram about your business or brand, about growing on Instagram, about developing as a person. And so I've identified the most value that I want to give to serve is not just growing on Instagram. That's a small part of it. It's not just the strategy that I have that's really effective and really cool, the 5-minute Instagram strategy. It's not just that. And so it's more than that. It's growing a business or a brand. And then it's more than that. It's building a life that you can be happy and proud of. And so that's part of the reason that I'm doing this series, is because this is one of the really cool books that I've found that really helps you do that in a really intentful and mindful way. So setting that mindset is really important, and that's what we're trying to do here. And this is a way that I can serve even more kind of higher stuff than just growing your business or your brand or just growing your Instagram. I can help you grow as a person and along the way set those foundational elements for your business and brand on Instagram. So this book has really touched me. I think it's really cool. I tell people all the time, in the gym or people I run to, friends, family, anybody I have a discussion with about certain things, like how we're growing or what we're doing to improve, all that kind of stuff. And I always kind of reference back to this book. So I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share with you the future for, again, that self-clarity, social clarity, skill clarity, and then service clarity. And so having a real strong sense of these different levels of clarity is really important in building the foundation for your business, your brand on Instagram as well, and then for yourself in a higher way as a person and as an individual. I'm going to have a giveaway coming up. And so this is going to be really cool. I'm going to officially announce it soon, but it's going to be a giveaway. I bought a bunch of these books and I'm going to give them away to people that qualify for the giveaway. A lot of it's going to be, you're going to have to follow my Instagram account. If you like and comment, then you get more chances at kind of the raffle, that kind of a giveaway. I'm going to try that on my Instagram, but I want to get this in some people's hands. And so I'm going to include this, and he also has a high performance planner that I'm using as well, that I start every day and end every work day by setting my intent. He's got a really good planner to do that, schedule out your day, that kind of stuff. That I really enjoy, and I'm going to include that with this book in the giveaway. And I hope to see you in the giveaway. I want to give you this book. So go to my Instagram. That's the call to action I have for you here. Please go to the Instagram. Follow if you like this content. If you do enjoy this kind of stuff and you want to have this kind of discussion, maybe you're reading this book too. Maybe you win the giveaway. We'll read it together. But if you're involved in this stuff, if you do want to grow your business and your brand and grow as a person, become the person that you need to be to get to where you want to go. If you're trying to do that kind of growth, come along with me with our High Performance Habits book by Brendan Burchard. And a lot of this happens on Instagram. And you can subscribe here as well. I'll include like a little subscribe button to taunt you to subscribe. And then you can, if you like and comment, if this was helpful, I would appreciate you getting involved. I really want to have discussions. So comment and let me know which one of these you're working on as far as self-clarity, social skill, or service clarity. And I can tell you more about what I'm doing and how I do it. And we can kind of bounce ideas off each other so we can grow as people, grow as businesses, grow as brands, live the lives that we want. So I wish you all the best, and I will see you in a future video.